All right, let's talk about one of the most deeply unsettling mysteries I've ever come across. We have to go back in time, to the dead of winter, 1959, in Russia's desolate Ural Mountains. This is the story of 9 very experienced hikers who went on a trip and just never returned.
And that's really the question that sits at the very heart of this whole thing, isn't it? What could possibly be so terrifying that it would make a group of pros choose to run, basically naked, into a frozen hellscape instead of staying inside their tent?
So, when the group missed their check-in date, a search party was sent out. And what they stumbled upon, well, it wasn't just a tragic accident. It was a scene that made absolutely no sense, starting with their campsite.
Just think about that for a second. The tent was cut open, but not by an animal or a person trying to get in. No, the cuts came from the inside. Whatever they were facing, it was so bad, so immediate, that they felt their only escape was to slash their way out of their own shelter.
The whole scene just screamed panic. I mean, they left everything behind. Food, winter coats, all their gear. The footprints heading away from the tent showed they were either barefoot or just wearing socks. And here's the kicker. There were no other footprints. No signs of a fight. No evidence of anyone else being there. They were running from something. But what?
As the search teams began to follow those desperate tracks into the snow, the mystery, believe it or not, got even stranger. The bodies they found over the next few weeks, they were just horrifying. In the end, all 9 hikers were found. 9 people, all dead, scattered across the slopes of a mountain the local Mansi people ominously call the Mountain of the Dead.
And you have to understand how cold it was. We're talking minus 30 degrees Celsius. That is unbelievably cold. Cold enough to kill you in minutes, even with the right gear. These people faced that with practically nothing on. Now, some of them did die from the cold, but the others, their injuries pointed to something much, much more violent.
Right, and this is where the story just goes completely off the rails. A few of the bodies had suffered these absolutely devastating internal injuries, but had 0 external wounds. Not a single cut, not a bruise, not even a scratch on their skin. How is that even possible?
You know, the medical examiner was stumped. He found things like a crushed skull and shattered ribs, injuries that he said would take the force of a speeding truck to cause. But again, there was no sign of impact on the outside. It's almost like a massive pressure wave, maybe from some kind of explosion, crushed them from the inside out. But there was no evidence of that either.
So with this completely impossible set of facts, people have spent decades trying to figure out what happened up there. And the theories, well, they run the gamut from the scientific to the completely bizarre. You can really split the theories into 2 big groups. On one hand, you've got natural explanations. Maybe a rare type of avalanche, a slab avalanche, hit the tent. It wouldn't bury them, but the sheer weight could cause those internal injuries and spark a panic. There's also infrasound, a super low frequency noise from the wind that we can't hear, but it can create this intense primal fear. That might also explain something called paradoxical undressing, where people freezing to death feel like they're burning up and start taking their clothes off. But then you have the other side, theories about a secret Soviet weapons test, an attack by local tribesmen, or even something not of this world.
And it's not hard to see why those stranger theories started to pop up. The local Mansi people have always had legends about that mountain, calling it a forbidden place. And get this. Another group of hikers, about 30 miles away, reported seeing weird, silent orange orbs in the sky that very same night. To top it all off, the Soviet government classified the entire investigation for years, which, just poured gasoline on the conspiracy fire.
After only a few months, the whole official investigation was shut down, and their final conclusion? The hikers were killed by an unknown, compelling natural force. I mean, seriously? That's an answer that explains literally nothing and just makes the whole thing even more mysterious.
So here we are all these decades later. The case has been reopened, new investigations have happened, but not one has come up with a real, solid answer. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is still one of the great unsolved mysteries of our time. In the end, I think the story sticks with us because it taps into a really deep primal fear. It's a terrifying reminder that no matter how skilled or prepared you are, there are forces out there, whether they're natural or something else, that are just beyond our ability to understand, let alone survive.
So you've heard the evidence, you've heard the theories, but the truth is still out there, buried somewhere on that frozen mountain. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's your gut feeling? What do you think really happened up there?